All right, my beautiful, fine agency folks, I have a legend with me today. He was actually a little bit of a personal hero. I know that's kissing his ass a little bit, but he is really the real deal. And Josh is the man when it comes to seven-figure agencies, literally wrote the book on it and lives the walk, walks the talk. And, there's a lot of people in this agency space that really focus on getting clients, and Josh has a ton of stuff on that. But what I really wanted him to come in here and talk to you guys today about was kind of what I consider actually the sacred piece of the agencies that nobody talks about, which is keeping clients and like organizing your delivery. Because when you end up keeping clients, your agency actually moves forward and you begin to start each month knowing there's going to be recurring revenue, and you start to build progress, and you can build teams and stability and kind of those kind of things. And as well, like doing it in such a way where you actually get a fucking life. Like, we're really big on the lifestyle design, and doing that in a way where you're not screwing clients over, but the opposite, you're delighting them and keeping them happy. And I think Josh is really the man when it comes to that. So firstly, Josh, let's give you a big high five and a welcome for showing up today.
Thanks for having me, man. And I love what you're up to. And I love the idea of kind of building a lifestyle-based business and, simplifying it while still providing amazing service to the clients. And designing your business and your life around it. So kudos to you and congratulations on your success.
Thank you, brother. Likewise. So the first thing I really wanted to pick your brain on, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. When I first began my agency journey, I was terrible at retention and didn't really know why I was terrible at retention. I just knew that like people left and they generally did so unhappy. And, you've talked about this, like where I see a lot of agencies, we mentioned this in our last little talk a minute ago, but there's all these people who post like, here's a screenshot, I signed a client, and it looks really awesome on the outside. But if you don't retain that client, typically what happens is 3 to 4 months later, that person is really pissed off at you. They may even want a refund, or they may speak badly about you and your company, and they just leave. And so I'd love to firstly hear your thoughts really on your own journey on retention, how you started to make improvements to get on that, when you started to realize it was important, any kind of useful insights for somebody listening to this for the first time, just getting into that journey and realizing that, how important that is.
100%. Yeah. And I think we were guilty of this early in our business. We work with plumbing and HVAC companies. So our company's Plumbing and HVAC SEO, our agency. And we got really good at landing clients, right? We were going to get them to pay us $1,500 a month. We're going to do the website, the SEO, the pay-per-click, and make it rain. And our entire focus, our entire emphasis was, let's just make it rain, right? And what we found was sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. Maybe it takes 60 to 90 days before their website starts to rank and before they start to get calls. And the clients would start to reach out to us, and they'd be like, hey, what's going on? Where are we at? Like, when is this going to start to work? And we were just so focused on making it rain, we didn't realize, we need to answer those questions. We need to have a good answer, and we need to communicate with them. Remember, our retention was a pretty big issue. Like I think we were losing 10% of our client base every month, which was painful. And it was like, why is this happening? And so we went back to the drawing board. We recognized, yes, making it rain and getting results is important, but really the client needs to be communicated with, and they need to feel the love. I think the number one reason a client leaves is perceived indifference. And so kind of finding that happy relationship between showing appreciation, kicking them off strong, and then communicating every step of the way makes a huge difference in retention. And the fact is, like you said, if you can't retain the clients that you have, you're going to be constantly taking one step forward and one step back. And that's no way to grow a successful business. And it's also no way to live, because one of the most stressful feelings in the world is to feel like you're getting clients, you're underserving them, and you're just one phone call or one email away from that client, saying they're canceling or they're going to badmouth you in the public forum or something along those lines.
It's funny you say that, because I still joke that I have email PTSD, where I check my email to see if an angry client is there, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I don't have angry clients anymore. But there's still a part of me that just is a little bit worried that when I open my inbox, there's going to be somebody pissed off in there. You mentioned feeling the love, kicking off the relationship kind of with a bang. I would love to hear your thoughts on just how you guys do that and how you see that process in general, because you're not just doing this in your own agency, you're also helping other people and teaching them how to do that in theirs, and really kind of taking back the horrible name marketers as a whole have built for themselves, and letting clients feel the love and communicate. So we would just love to hear some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think as it relates to onboarding, you want to kick things off with a bang, right? Whether it was $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month that they're committing to on the front end, they've just committed to you. And most clients of our agency services have been down this path before, right? They hired Scorpion, or they hired Reach Local, or they hired the kid across the street. Big promises, poor results, and very little communication usually. So they get the agreement and the team goes to work, and maybe there's like one call in between. I really think we can orchestrate a great client experience by showing appreciation right at the gates. There should be a text message and an email that like literally hits their inbox, personally thanking them. Hey, not a long thing, but just, hey, welcome aboard. Really excited you've decided to do business with us. We look forward to a long-term business relationship. And I think dropping something in the mail is so overlooked right now. So we get so little mail these days. We mail a gourmet gift basket right away. We get it shipped out, like $75, right? Not a big investment when they're spending, $1,000 to $5,000 per month for the service. And then we also like to drop another package in the mail, which is like our onboard welcome box. If I have it in the room, should I grab it so I can show it to you real quick?
Yeah, why not? If you want to.
Let's see if I can reach you without unplugging my mic here. This is a little awkward, but we send a box like this, and it's filled with hey, here's what you can expect. Here's what's going to happen. A copy of our book. So they're getting a literal appreciation gift, which is like a gourmet gift basket they can hand out to their team, and then more of a branded welcome aboard. Hey, here's our team. Here's what you can expect. Here's what's going on. I think if you kick off with a bang in that way, and you make the onboarding smooth, you're just going to stand out from the crowd, right? You're going to create an initial experience, unlike the other agencies that they worked with. And I really believe what happens in the first 24 hours, what happens in the first week, sets the pace for whether they're going to be with you 12 months down the road.
Totally. And that box is really, really super cool. Shades of Dan Kennedy, by the way.
Yeah, I pulled that straight out of the shock and awe concept from Dan Kennedy.
Yes, it's really, really great. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That's been my experience as well, is the way you start the relationship makes a great deal of difference for whether you keep them. And like you said, like so many of us are just focused on making it rain. I really like that analogy, that we tend to skip just making them feel the love. And as a result, we think as long as we make it rain, everything will be cool. I want to kind of change directions here a little bit, because one of the reasons I really, really wanted to talk to you is, it's one thing to like sign clients and bring them on, and it's probably the most unsexy topic in the agency world, but I think it's one of the most important things, which is systems and processes, and actually delivering on the promises you've created, and then even exceeding those things with the little touches and exceeding the whole relationship. And you're probably really the only one I know who talks about this in the space, which is systematizing, processing, and not only making it rain, but making the client feel the love repeatedly, predictably, automatically. And I would love to just kind of hear your perspective on how you kind of approach that, how you think about that, how you help other people to do that. Because, usually if somebody's never done systems and processes before, A, it's boring, B, it's overwhelming. But as you know, when you get that in place, the finished result is just such a much smoother end result. And so, I don't know, any good ideas you got on here?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I think it starts with your business model, right? You can only systematize and automate your business to the extent that you've got a model that's built for scale. And so something you teach, and that's something I'm a big advocate for, is rather than being a generalist trying to work with everybody, choose a specific vertical, right? We work with plumbing and HVAC. You work with attorneys. By choosing a vertical, you can engineer a service offering that matches what that industry needs and really what they want, which is more leads, more sales, and revenue growth. right? So for plumbing, we can figure out like, what do we need to do with the website? What do we need to do from a pay-per-click perspective? What directories we need to get them into? How do we need to structure the content and the offers to make it interesting? So that's where it starts in my mind, is like really choose a vertical, design an offering that's actually going to deliver a tangible, measurable result. And then engineer what the steps are, right? Engineer in the first 30 days, what are the key things that have to be done and whose hands are going to be touching that, right? Who's going to order the content, who's going to claim the directories, who's going to set up the reputation management, all of those little steps. And I think if this is your first time thinking along these lines, start simple, right? Put it into an Excel sheet, right? These are all of the different touch points that we have to do. These are the timeframes when I would expect to have it done. And this is who's going to do it, right? It may be all you, it may be your white label provider, it may be any variety of services. Put it onto a timeline like that, and then obviously move it to a project management system. I'm a big fan these days of ClickUp, but whether it's ClickUp or Teamwork or Asana or whatever platform, Basecamp that you might use, put it into a process where you know, like, this is what needs to be done, this is when it needs to be done by, and this is who on the team is responsible for getting it done. I think at the most basic level, you want to have that mapped out for your program. And what's beautiful is if you do this in a niche, right, and you've already got it pre-engineered, you can design the best version of this for your industry and then just use it again and again and again and iterate it as things need to be changed to make sure you can get predictable results for your clients.
Love that. I love that so much. And that's what it's really about, is like getting predictable results, but not putting all that burden on you to be the one to do it. So it's like you're cloning yourself. And I think you're right that most people get it wrong with having a service offering that is not scalable in the first place. And I didn't realize this in the beginning, but a client says, can you do SEO? I say yes. The client says, hey, do you know how to run Google AdWords? I say yes. And then a client says, hey, can you make a landing page for me? I say yes. And then you don't realize. And then a client comes in a new vertical and says, hey, can you do SEO for me? And there's a totally different set of directories and stuff in that niche. And then what ends up happening is, I always say like 5 to 10 custom clients is more work than 50 clients with one well-organized, systematized. And you don't realize it when you're doing it, but you work infinitely harder with 5 to 10 custom clients than you do with 50 that like have that well-organized structure. Be curious to know, like, what was the point where you realized that you needed to have the structure? Were you always just gifted in understanding how to systematize their business? Or were you like me, where you just winging it for a long time and realized you were terrible and then came across the E-Myth and went, oh, it was like, yeah. What was your moment?
Definitely wasn't just gifted, still not gifted in this. Really, it's something that you learn over time with experience. My first business was a generalist web design company where I would get a client, sell them a $1,500 website, charge them $50 a month in hosting. And it was just haphazard, whatever industry, whatever client, however much I could get. And then whatever we delivered, it was like, who knows, whatever comes top of mind. And of course, that business was a complete failure. After about 3 years working full-time, 60 plus hours a week, I had to shut it down, basically took no money out of it, and had to go back and get a regular job, work at regular companies, and studied, right? I studied all of the books you just mentioned, the E-Myth Revisited, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and learned kind of what are the right ways to approach business. I think based on that, and then working at a really successful digital marketing agency, and learning some things along the way, my recent business here, Plumbing and HVAC SEO, which we started about 11 years ago, we took a totally different tact, right? It was like, let's be in a specific vertical. Let's make sure we know what those deliverables are. And then we've learned lots of other lessons along the way.
Yeah, it actually, you dropped a really awesome name there. I know we're a big fan, both of us, that book, the T. Harv Eker, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. For me, that, it was a real eye-opener on that. And I've seen this before where I've got a couple of like younger kind of like whiz kid agency owners where they're just really good at running some kind of ad, and they build $100,000 a month agencies. And then what ends up happening, inevitably, the delivery side of it burns them out. And at some point they decide to either slow it down or cut it back or just stop doing it altogether. And inevitably, they got nothing to show for it because they haven't like really managed the money. I would love to hear kind of your perspective on how that book impacted you. That, okay, so you have cash flow coming in from an agency, you got happy clients, you got retention, but what you're actually doing when the money's going into the bank account with it determines, how well it's going to stay in your hands and ultimately provide that kind of lifestyle, that you're really big on as well, the freedom for you and your family and your three monsters to be able to travel. So love to hear how you approach that whole process and just the money management side of things, which I don't think is really talked enough about either.
Yeah, I think, definitely the whole concept that you want to use your business to produce cash flow, right? To produce income, to pay your bills, obviously at first to have the luxuries that you want. Ideally then to put a team in place so that you can take travels and have the freedom that you're after. But I think over time, what you want to be focused on is how do I take the cash flow that's coming into the business, the retained profits, and put that into investments? Really, how do I turn that into assets that create passive income? Yeah. I think there's some additional training that you want to put on top of that helps bridge the gap. There's a great book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I'm sure you're familiar, probably fan of it. The whole notion is you don't wait for profit to appear in your business, right? If you just take the revenue and then you take out your expenses, before you know it, there's not much profit left. That whole model is you take your profit in advance, 20%, 30%, you move it into a separate account. And then you want to be intentional about what you do with that profit, right? If all you do is take the money and buy yourself the nice house, buy yourself the nice cars, you'll squander that money really, really quickly. And so Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, fundamental, everybody should read. And then Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Both of them teach the key to wealth, true wealth, isn't the income from your business. It's by investing in assets that turn into passive income. And I'm a big fan of, investing in things that are going to produce passive income, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of cryptocurrency, a little bit of other asset classes that are accessible to me, but probably not everybody. But I think that's really important. It's not just about making the money. We got to make sure we invest it wisely so we can turn it into passive income, so that what we do in the business becomes more of a pleasure than I need this just to survive.
Yeah, and there's some real magic when you reach that point. I actually just had a guy in my mastermind who said, I don't know, I've had a couple of web design projects fall on my lap, but I don't really want them because, my passive income covers my lifestyle now. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm just lazy. And I was like, actually, that's the goal that almost everybody else is trying to reach, where you can selectively choose kind of the clients and the projects as well. And I would actually love to just hear your thoughts a little bit on kind of, obviously you got the HVAC and the plumbing, like, how you've learned to kind of like appreciate that market and have real empathy for it. Because I think that's another thing that is not really talked about, is just really giving a shit. I don't even know how you would qualify that, but not just seeing your clients as a credit card with legs, but as people that, that if you treat well and build real relationships, will be around for a while, that will help fund your family, that, they're real human beings with lives and families and things like that. And seeing them as more than just that, like, kind of would love to hear a little bit of the insights of your relationship.
Yeah, I think what to really develop that level of understanding and empathy, I think there's two things I'd really recommend. And this is what we've done, is to join the industry association. So whatever vertical it is, we work with plumbing and HVAC. There's, hundreds of different niches and sub pockets you could work in, but just using plumbing and HVAC as an example, we joined the National Association. We found out when they have live events and gatherings, we went out there and spent time at those events, not just, trying to sell, but also sitting in the sessions, getting to know the people, clients and not clients, to understand, like, how do they think? What are their goals? What are they trying to do in their lives? What are their passions? What are the things they really like to do? And you'll get to see, like, these are really good, hardworking people that like serve a very specific need in the market. So that's the first thing, like, plug into the industry association. That's going to help you understand the industry, develop relationships. Obviously, you're going to land clients from it as well, right? Because you're going to be.
Can I just add as well that, like, every industry's got their unique terminology. Like, you and I are talking about click-through rates at the dinner table. We understand each other, but to the people watching us, it probably sounds like, two aliens speaking a foreign language.
Yeah. So I would say that. And then the second is, as you start to work with a national audience, you're not going to meet with everybody, but try and make a conscious effort to get out to a couple of your client sites. Like spend some time at their facility. So you get to know them as people. You get to know kind of how the business operates. You get to know what the team structure looks like. I think for me, that's how I developed a real affinity with the industry, right? I've gone out to, probably at least 30 or 40 of our client sites across the country and spent the day with them and kind of went out in their trucks and went to the house sites and got video footage while we were at it. But it just gives you an opportunity to get to know the business at a deeper level, break bread with the clients and develop those personal bonds.
Yeah, that's huge. That's really, really huge. And the more you get to connect with them, I've always said too, that I found that helps is to work with a niche where you can have natural empathy. Like I actually found when I was working with, we tested all kinds of different niches. And I remember one of them was roofers, and roofers are cool people, but it was such a different life than I had ever worked that it was just, there wasn't that much common ground. And I found when I worked with lawyers, not that I was madly in love with lawyers, but I'd worked shitty office jobs. I've had to deal with bureaucracy. I've had pointless meetings. I've had angry clients. So like we already understood a lot of each other's challenges from the beginning. I think the more you can just like bring your unique experience to a field where you can have some understanding with them will only benefit you. That's pretty much all the things I wanted to pick your brain on, Josh. You were obviously a genius, and I know you're a busy man with 3 kids and underslept. I know exactly what that feels like firsthand because I was up late last night and I woke up to my 2 youngest screaming their head off.
Fun.
So welcome to the party. But any final thoughts you want to add just before we get going here? And also give us a plug. Tell us where to find out more about you guys. For those of you who haven't heard of the man Josh, I don't know how that would be if you're in the agency space, but let's share some.
I would say last piece of wisdom is get around people that have solved the problems you're looking to solve. Get around people that are 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. And so kudos to you for following Frankie. And somebody that's been down the track you're trying to get to can help shortcut what might take a decade and shortcut it to 12 months or less. So I think that's really important. Have peers that are similar business to you, have mentors, and have heroes, right? Have mentors that can help technically solve you, and heroes that you look up to that have really, gone to the top of the mountain and can kind of show you the way up. I would say that's the main thing. And if I look at people that struggle versus those that succeed, usually the people that succeed are the ones that seek out mentors and they seek out support and they seek out insight as opposed to trying to figure it all out themselves.
Yeah, no need to reinvent the wheel. So if you don't mind, let's give your book a plug, any groups or places they can find out about you. Cool
I would say, if you want to learn more about me, you could go to sevenfigureagency.com/book. I'll send you a free copy of our book, The 7-Figure Agency Roadmap, which is all around how to build a $1 million business over the next 12 to 24 months in your digital marketing agency. That's usually the best place to get started. You could also look it up on Amazon. Just search for 7-Figure
It's on
Agency.
Audible. Ask me how I know.
And Audible, yep.
Although you don't narrate it, so it's not as cool. No. So yeah, go and check those out. I've read and also listened to Josh's book, and it's definitely like exactly what he said. It'll take 10 years and put it into 12 months, and stop you from making the things that really, like he said, make an agency really stressful and make it more where you get to have the travel and the freedom and the flexibility and all that. So thank you so much, Josh, for doing this. I know you're a legend. I know you're busy, and just so many valuable insights for our listeners. So that's all I got for you guys. May the force be with you.
Thanks for having me, man. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you.